save your question for the introduction on Supercloud, and then Carla Mulder will later inform you in the corner. Yeah? And let's switch to hear Ken Young. In the meantime, we'll get these seats out of the way for you.
I would like to give a very brief background to this project that we will demonstrate to you now. Basically, we had we called it a test week last week, in which we tested out all sorts of ideas about augmented reality, or let's say virtual additions to the real world with theater. And because this is quite a new problem domain, so to say, we didn't know a lot we didn't know in advance a lot about the problems that we would encounter. So actually, this whole week was sort of a live coding experience to the developers, and something that actually came out of that week that was very interesting and also relates to something that Florian mentioned in his introduction, is that as you can see, we have 3 people here behind the machines, and in the end it actually turns out that it is a lot about communication amongst them that produces the visual effects and also audio effects that you can witness in a few minutes. So yeah, it's a lot about the flexibility of the software and being able to alter it very quickly or even real time. Just a little bit, some technical details, maybe you find them interesting. In previous projects, we did work with at the T2 Lab for augmented reality, but we discovered that the technologies are quite new and very difficult to integrate. So we ended up a lot of time calling make and just waiting for the program to compile. And that, yeah, because you had to figure out so much stuff and make so many new connections, it took too long. And so what we did, we started a new research project actually. We call it the VGE, the V2 Gaming Engine, and it's basically a scheme which is a scripting language, a scheme attached to a more serious, or no, to a real-time 3D environment, over in this case, and having this scheme interface to a 3D world allows for very rapid and iterative addition and developing code. So, and then we met Carla Mulder, and she is a theater maker. She is actually not a technological person. She enjoys technology, and she will tell you a lot about why she ended up in this 3D stereoscopic way. But so we met. We thought it would be interesting to have this test week to figure out where exactly we meet, to work with her ideas, her inputs, in contact with the developers of the V2 Lab. And what is also very interesting is that we also have some other developers / artists from Rnul. And basically, of course, you can talk about all the stuff that you're going to do in such a week, but still you meet in that week, and that's actually where the so-called action happens. And yeah, it's very interesting to see how these, like I said before, like these communication patterns develop. And I would like to also mention very kind support of Joris Weidom. He's the head of the research group Virtual Theater. And I think he brought a lot of his students tonight. For him, this process is also very interesting because he likes, he's researching how these virtual theater processes come about. And well, we just did a very brief introduction to such a process last week, and hopefully I kept my introduction short enough so that I can give Carla the space to give a more in-depth introduction in the content and demonstration of the content of the project.
Everybody has the Polaroid glasses, otherwise you will miss half of the performance. And the best thing is to stand over here. So you have to come together. And after the performance, we kindly request you to give them back to us, because we need them for the theater play we are developing. And also you don't have anything at home, it doesn't work, it only works in our performance. So please give it back. Okay, a couple of years ago I figured out, I found a very old photo archive of my grandfather. I will step aside, otherwise I will disturb the stereoscopic. These are old pictures from 1900 made by my grandfather on glass, negatives and positives. And this is stereoscopic. This boy, this is my grandmother with her son called Jan. And the story we are going to develop in the theater play is called Game Jan. So it is about this little boy. Okay, I will just show you a couple of the pictures to introduce my family. This is my grandfather who made all the pictures, my grandmother and their firstborn daughter. This is the whole family. The little boy in the middle with the blonde hair is my father. So now you know my whole family. Okay, and this is where they got married. So here it started all. Okay, this is just to have a brief introduction about the stereoscopic history of the whole project. Okay, shall we go to the other? Okay, now I will step in, so I won't disturb the 3D. Jan, the little boy, went to the south of France and died when he was like 22 years old in 1938. When I found the whole archive, there was also this whole documents about how he died, because our family thought that he was murdered by an English woman. So this is where the murder comes in. And the theater piece I'm going to develop next year is about this mystery. Is it a murder mystery, or is it just not right interpreted facts? The thing with the 3D photographs, which is very interesting for me, is to go in. When you see the 3D effect, you want to go in the picture. It is as if you can go in the picture and just touch the people from 100 years ago. So this is what I want to do in my performance. I want to get in the picture. I want to get in the whole thing, the whole story, that the story is going to be all around me. And for this I have the help of Rnul and of V2, because I want to also to try to manipulate the things in the theatrical environment, and to be able to react as an actor with the theatrical environment. You need a kind of improvisation with the technique. So you need a real-life tracking, and you need a live coding. This is what we try to figure out in the whole week. I just want to give you a couple of presentations what we did. Okay, so I want you to introduce to the victim, and the victim is Jan. This is Jan. Just want to introduce him to you. He's killed. Jan is killed by Mrs. Facet. Just want to introduce you, Mrs. Facet, or do you want to see Jan? Or just have a good look at Mrs. Facet, because she was really not very nice. She looked like a morphinist. Yes, that's what the people say. Okay, so we have Mrs. Facet. I just put her down. Okay, go. But I will stay. Jan will stay here. Okay, Jan, come. Come with me. Come. Come, Jan. Come. Yes. Okay, you sit here. But before Jan met Mrs. Facet, he went with the bike to a pub. So Jan was sitting on his bike and they drove to the pub. They came to the pub. So Jan put away his bike, went into the pub and met Mrs. Facet. So this is where the story starts. We can put away the bike. Okay, now what happened afterwards? They went to the room of Jan, and in the room of Jan there was a lamp. So this lamp was standing in. It was not standing in this corner. No, it was standing in this corner. Well, the strange thing is, with the lamp, that there was also a handkerchief. There was a handkerchief. The lamp was on, and the handkerchief was hanging over the lamp. This was very strange. So there was this lamp, with the handkerchief hanging over it, and Jan and Mrs. Facet. Okay. So this is what we try to. I just want to stop now the little presentation of this part. What we are doing here, that Rnul, I just want to explain something about it. Rnul, Rob and Aart are tracking my motions so that they the pictures can follow what I'm doing. So I'm manipulating in the projection. We can now maybe show the gallery, the portrait gallery that I'm walking through. Okay. So when I just started the story, you have a couple of ingredients. You have the bike. You have the shoes of the man who was walking through the how do you call it, through the garden. There was a waiter. The waiter was also there. He's also very important, the waiter. And what is very, very important is the piano, but the piano is still over there. So next time we will be in the front of it. So what I can do is really go into this 3D world, or go out of it again. Or, oh no, I want to tell you something more. Okay, this is what we figured out also. Shall we do with the sound? The tracking with the sound? So I can change from because of the I can now change the music. I can change the mood of the presentation. So I can make it more. If I really want to say something about a murder, I can get in front of it. Or if I just want to say something about this beautiful music they played, I just stand here. Or if I just want to think about what do I don't know which story I want to tell. I just go. No, I just want to. So you can also put the volume on my tracking, and we can also go from the stereo from the left to the right. If I go like this, really try to make a difference. So I can really bring you into this world by moving around in this theatrical environment of mine, and also interact with the projection and with the 3D story. So I can become part of the whole environment and improvise with it. When I'm rehearsing, improvise with the whole environment and with the technical stuff. So this is what we found out in the test week. We did also this part of it. So when I'm talking and trying to tell you more about the program and about the things that I found, you can also add text with it. So the whole document, the whole medical document is still available, and also all the witnesses we have them all, and we can also project all the look. He's just now real time translating or putting down what I'm talking about. So if I say Mrs. Facette is a murderer, then now it's proved because it's written down. Okay, if you, I don't know if you can see on that side what Rob and Aart are doing. Now, if so you can see what it's what I'm seeing. So I can really also direct myself, because I can see how I'm put into the whole projection, that I stay out of the projection, because when I get into the 3D projection, it really disturbs your view as an audience. And they can follow me also. So maybe it's interesting if Rob and Aart tell something about the technical part of it.
Microphone, hello. Yeah, this is a camera which hangs there, and we just track the position of Carla, where she walks, and yeah, you have to see it the way around, but yeah, there are. We just we track it with video. We use some different kind of tracking technologies with video. We just see that something is moving here, and just kind of shape, and we say to the computer, stay on that shape and follow that, and we get the coordinates of these where she walks. So and we send them the coordinates to the VGE. Maybe you can show something like that. But oh, we have to restart. Okay. but then the coordinates translate to the 3D space where Carla is walking in. So if she go back, like to the screen, that's the Z as of the space, what you saw when she walked through the space itself. So yeah, what's more interesting? Yeah, we have got several tracking points. What you saw with the papers you got. Each paper you can give another color. It's like sort of. I can just point this on this, and if I want to say that, I just click on the white papers, and it will stock on the white paper. So yeah, we can all get all the positions of the objects, because one color we can attach to an object. What you saw just like the murderer or something else. So, and yeah, we can do it up like a lot of tracking points, but yeah, we just practice now with a couple, otherwise it will be very disturbing for Carla also what I'm always all tracking now. So yeah, now you can see she's walking, but like if she's here, this is the position she walks. So, and it will translate to the ZS of the space. And yeah, with this data of the tracking, we just can control almost everything, like the music you saw, and we also work with really physical objects which move with like a little car, or yeah, something rotating, or yeah, you can. We just have a week of testing all kinds of different things. So maybe something of the VGE.
Well, the VG is just a visualization part of the whole thing, because I'm getting the coordinates from them, and VG is just the OpenGL rendering for the images you see over there, and we define stereoscopic cameras over there. You can position them somewhere in space, and you can have some default objects in there that we put in there just for our own sake, to have some reference of where these pillars are and where she might be in space. But as you can see right now, we had to really exaggerate the movement of the camera, because if you do it a one-by-one translation, in the effect will be very little of the moving stuff in front of you, and you see only a small movement of the virtual objects, and you really want to exaggerate it. That's why it looks like she's standing over here besides these pillars, because these are those pillars over there, and she's a bit farther away from that. So in VGE we have a simple scheme scripting language that we can very easily change everything. So that's what we tested. Okay.
So, is there any questions for Carla or some of the technical staff here?
Yeah, I would be willing to know, how does that scale? Now, seeing you as one performer, and the microphone is not on, but everybody can hear me. How does it scale? In a traditional theatre performance, you're looking at 3, 4, 6 people on stage. How does that scale with that whole mechanism and tracing, tracking?
Yes, well, what we are now thinking about, that we are not going to play with 6 people, with 1 or 2, because it is about me getting into this 3D world. It's about my preoccupation with going to, that I really want to be a part of this 3D environment, and really want to find out the mystery. The murder mystery. So it's more about like the content of the play will be that I'm all surrounded by a data walk, a data cloud, that is coming out of this, out of the blue, to be, and it's really going to be all around me, and I'm going to reconstruct the whole part of this mystery.
Can I just one follow-up question? Would it be possible in a further extension of that play that you would interact with virtual agents?
Sorry?
Would it be possible that you would interact with virtual agents, like automatic actors somewhere in the computer that would start
Yes.
to get in dialogue with you?
To be honest, we are now, this is the first test week we did. We are going to, hopefully we're going to have a couple of more. And when we are brainstorming about it, we really are talking about how it is if you can interfere with the other techniques, like for instance Joris just showed us last week what he is working out now, and it's like a full body scan in 3D, and then you can really interact with full body.
I'm interested to know whether you specifically want to use the interactivity to tell every time a different story, or sort of interact yourself and find your way through the 3D environment, or are you foreseeing a sort of theater play where you basically rehearse the kind of story you're going to tell?
Well, that's
if you referring to the story of the murder, it seems like a linear story to me.
Well, it's not, because when you read the whole documents, it's like you have a look through a kaleidoscope, and you see all the time you see the whole story from another point of view. So there is not a linear way of telling the story. It's about, okay, so now this is put in, this kind of thing. Now here somebody says that Mrs. Facette is smoking. Oh, another one says, no, she's not smoking. So it's from all kinds of perspectives, the whole story is filled up. And in the end, it's all a projection. I mean, it's not, you don't know if it's true.
Basically, you're planning to have a theater production that changes like all the time.
Yes.
I have a question both to the technical stuff and to Carla, because I understand that this is not really a live coding project, right? I mean, it's a live coding project in the sense that you have been debugging this whole thing, and you have been live coding. Right, but yeah, that's okay. I understand that the development phase has been the typical live coding in the sense of debugging, but since we're discussing this now in the larger context of the actual performance, could you actually think of well, letting Carla not only control the objects, but actually interfere with the programming in a much more radical way? Because that is, for me, the crucial question of this whole panel and this whole evening here. Or would you say it's in the traditional model of interactivity as machine feedback?
Well, the thing is that it would. I think it's interesting that not only I am interacting with the objects, with the 3D objects, but they are also interacting with me, so they can also send me somewhere I do not want to go, maybe. I mean, I can imagine that it's interesting. I'm not somebody who can program. I cannot sit behind a computer and do that. It's not my...
But probably during the live performances, there might be some technicians on stage who can dynamically alter the behavior just to soothe the audience that is there. Maybe on an evening they want to have more movement, or bigger objects, or during the stage if the programmer feels like the audience needs this kind of things, or change the audio volume, so then they also become performing. I
Yes,
guess.
it is. The setup is that the technicians are also on the stage. It's not that they're sitting in the back. Is that what you mean?
Well, it was my general, let's say, a bit critical question into the model of performer versus programmer, whether this is something that your system really can overcome, or whether you the point is that you still have a traditional divide between the performer and the programmer, and whether at some point you might even feel like you are, well, metaphorically a prisoner in Plato's cave. You are in this cave, and you have to interact with the limitations that the system imposes upon you. But with the rehearsals we did last week,
Carla had constantly feedback, or like say, I want to have not shoes, but I want a whole other shape, and then we were like, okay, we make another shape in the program, like, almost real time then. But that's obviously the difficult part, to make real time another object, but that we are trying now to do that.
Yeah, our gain is to have an environment, a theatrical environment, also to rehearse with, that it's as flexible as we are as actors, so that you really can improvise with the technique and with the 3D technique. So that's what we want to set up.
Okay, I think this is an interesting discussion there that we can continue later on this evening. I just want to announce that for the people that want to get an introduction on Super Collider, you have to be in this corner. And for the people that want to have an introduction on Fluxus, you can you go in that corner and have Archim explain it to you. For the people that want to know more about Game Jan, Carla will be around the rest of the evening here, I think. And please hand back your 3D glasses in the box there in the corner.